Today on our show, we've got an autopsy for you, man. We got an autopsy, but we don't know who it's from. We got news for days, and of course, we're bringing you The Last Jedi. Star Wars teaser trailer. You're going to hear our reaction to it. That's next on the Nerdynomicon. Welcome to the Nerdynomicon. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Adrian.
How you been this week, my friend?
I've been pretty good. Just super busy. Just busy all the time. It's awful. I miss having free time. And it's not like
free time, what's that?
Yeah, right. It's not like the podcasting. That takes up a little bit of time, but not really. It's just like work and then traveling to work and then making sure that the house is in order and keeping the kids entertained and walking the dog. And it's just like,
and then
oh my
watching
God.
all the shit that your podcasting partner tells you to watch and reading a comic book. And
Well, you took it easy on me this week. You didn't make me watch 13 hours of television.
Massively depressing television.
This is like 90 minutes. 90 minutes I can find time for. 13 hours is difficult.
You're welcome. You're a better person for doing it.
Am I?
You are.
I feel like maybe I didn't have my Twitter at that point.
You did
but
not.
I feel like nobody is tweeting anything at me. I'm a reactionary person. I'm not going to tweet stuff out. I need prompts.
And if you wanna tweet at Adrian while you're listening to this episode, Kinga Awesome.
2 G's. The second G is silent.
King Awesome. Kinga Awesome. At Kinga Awesome. That's how you can tweet at Adrian while you're listening to this episode. That way you can tell him your reaction to his reaction for the movie that we're about to review, man. It's almost like you're an auditory cuckold. You're listening to us talking about something. You're watching us watching this, talking about that. That's what it is. That was a really weird metaphor, granted.
I'm the cuckold or they're the cuckold?
I'm going to say that they're the cuckold.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the cuckold.
No, I feel like I'm more like the auditory force ghost in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm there, but I'm not there.
I like where your head's at. Perceptive. I don't even know what to say to that. So what do you think, Adrian? You ready to jump into this?
I'm ready to jump in. Let's do it.
All right. First thing that we're going to touch on right now, you had an assignment. You had some homework, and that's the review that we're going to be bringing.
You already spilled the beans on it, too. It was one of two things.
I did. Well, you know what? They waited a week. They're like sitting there. Oh, my God. What's he going to review? Is it going to be Train to Busan? Is it going to be the Autopsy of Jane Doe? It's the Autopsy of Jane Doe. That's what you chose.
It is. It was good. I really, really liked it. It was a horror movie that wasn't lame. You know, there's so many lame horror movies that come out.
Cliche, pedantic.
Shallow and pedantic. I guess you don't get that reference. That's fine.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Old Family Guy. It's not worth actually. But it was good, and it really kept our attention. I think that was the thing. I watched it with Tavia, and she loves horror movies, and I love horror movies. But most of the horror movies that have come out, they haven't been that interesting. I think the last one we saw before this one was something that I think you recommended for us, and I think it's called. It has the dude from it has Loki from the Avengers in it. It's something Peak, I think.
Oh, Crimson Peak.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a while too.
That one was
horror movie.
Yeah, that one was interesting. Very, very well done. I wouldn't say it wasn't as
wasn't necessarily a horror movie. It was more of a ghost-inspired drama, if anything. But Guillermo del Toro is a beautiful artist, man. I mean, The Devil's Backbone alone gives him all the street cred he needs in the world of horror movies.
Yeah, so I mean, we watched that and we enjoyed that one. But it wasn't as horror-y as we would want. This one was very, I don't want to say it didn't have cliches, but it definitely had that horror feel.
Right.
And it didn't have those like, oh, I'm chasing you with a knife and I'm jumping out of nowhere scares. It was kind of just like, it was eerie and things were happening and you just don't really understand it. And the people are trying to piece it together. It was an interesting story. It wasn't that standard, like, I'm chasing you and you're going to die for no reason, or I was abused as a kid, or I'm already dead. Like, it didn't have that just like, okay, it's chase scene, she's going to trip and he's going to get killed.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of chasing in this movie whatsoever. This movie is very claustrophobic. Like I said in the last episode, I found out about this movie by listening to the podcast, no, not the last podcast on the left. Completely separate show. Still phenomenal. Completely separate show. A Nightmare on Film Street is the show that I heard about this from. I'd never heard about it before and found out that it was streaming. And I decided to pause the episode once I started to hear a little bit about what this movie is about because I didn't want it to be spoiled. Because they kept on saying the more you know about this movie, the less effective the first screening is going to be. Just like really with any horror movie, but particularly with this one, because the whole idea is to go on this journey with the coroners, to dissect this Jane Doe with them to learn the secrets of what's going on inside her body. And that may sound disgusting and weird, and it may sound like it was ripped right out of a high school health class textbook, but it's probably still the best way that I can describe this movie without giving any spoilers. But wouldn't you agree?
Definitely. And I think going into it without any spoilers is really important. I think it's important for most movies, not every movie. Some of them you can know what's going to happen, but the journey of getting there and the acting is a treat in and of itself. So it doesn't matter if you know the story. Yeah. Horror is one of those things where it's kind of nice not to know what's happening. That adds to the suspense. It adds to that creepy feeling of like, okay, shit's going down, but I don't know what's happening and I don't know why.
Right. Now, with some horror movies, it doesn't matter. You've got It Follows, which is essentially about an STD, a sexually transmitted demon. And knowing that does not detract from that movie. If anything, it may water it down for the first 5 minutes because they're like, Palmer said STD. It's a sexually transmitted demon. It's funny to me. But it really doesn't detract from that movie because knowing what that is doesn't make the demon any less frightening. If anything, knowing what it is right out the gate makes it even more frightening because then you've got that sense of paranoia while you're watching it. This movie, on the other hand, even if we tell you some of the tropes that could be used to describe it, it does in some ways detract from the viewing of this movie. And especially because this is right at the beginning of the podcast, I don't know if we can even do a complete and total review of it without giving spoilers. Should we throw up spoiler tags or just tell everybody to go watch it?
I would tell them to go watch it. You know what I mean? Because I think you have the spoilers in there and people aren't paying attention, they hear it or they don't care. And it's like, I don't want to give them that out because I think it was a really good movie. And it's not hard to find. So go and watch it. It's
not
entertaining.
Hard to find.
Yeah, if you like horror movies, go and watch it. It's 90 minutes of your life, and the rental is maybe $5 or something. Like
something like that. Yeah,
you spent more money on dumber shit that's entertained you for far less than this movie will. And if I'm wrong, you can tweet at me, and I'll tell you that you're an idiot. I guess. Yeah,
tweeting at him at Kinga Awesome. I just love to word it that way, man.
I'm really whoring for those tweets. The funny thing is that it's linked to my backup email. Like I've had a couple email addresses throughout my life, and I usually retire one and then start a new one. So this is on the next to be retired, although I've had it for probably decades at this point. So I don't check it as often.
Decades, plural? How old are you? Fuck.
Well, I mean, 2 decades is multiple decades, and I'm early 30s, so,
So you've had it since you were 11?
Yeah, probably. Maybe. Close to it.
God,
I mean,
damn.
You weren't a computer nerd growing up?
Well, of course I was, but all of those email addresses are long since retired. I had an email address that was based on the name of a character from Resident Evil 2. Do you really think I'm getting pussy using the name Leon Kennedy in my email address, they're going to think that my name is Leon. Once they find out it's Robbie, they're going to be like, who the hell's Leon? I ain't going to fuck this guy.
I was never trying to get pussy with this email account. I think
then
that
you
was...
were doing it wrong.
Apparently. I've done a lot of things wrong in my life, so this would not be anything new.
Oh,
it's so old.
I'm the one out of the two of us that's just like, you're wrong. Stop it, Robbie. Don't do that anymore. No, this is one time where I'm like, Adrian, you were doing it wrong. Wrong.
It's so old that it's a Hotmail address.
Oh my God.
It totally is.
Oh dear God, no. Yeah, Hotmail's been gone for decades with the plurality there, man. Yahoo, same thing. I don't own a Yahoo address either. It's
used to have a
Gmail
Yahoo.
or bust for me now.
I used to have Yahoo. That was retired to move on to Hotmail, I think.
Really? Because I was the reverse. I was Hotmail and I upgraded to Yahoo. I upgraded to Yahoo for the instant messenger.
I really didn't feel like Yahoo was an upgrade, but then again, I wasn't really doing chatting all that much. So if I was chatting, I was on ICQ, which is, oh my God, eons ago.
Oh yeah, it was. If you want to hear more about instant messengers, chat rooms, and everything in the, well, explicit shit that goes on in there, about 6 months ago, our other show, Couldn't Be Models, did a two-parter on the history of dick pics from chat rooms to Tinder. We touch on Yahoo Instant Messenger as well as ICQ. It's worth listening because that was really at the inception of dick pics, man. That was back when we were maybe not the forefathers, but the godfathers of dick pics.
I remember I had to sneak
your dick pics onto ICQ?
No, I didn't even know how to do that. I don't know if that was possible. If it was, I had no clue how to do it.
Touche.
No, I remember to get porn because I wanted like hard copies. I wanted like physical stuff, but you're young, so you can't get magazines. I had to sneak into the computer lab of a university that was across the street from my house. No joke. Like there was this like
and
university.
And print out your pussy?
And print it out. And there was, I can't remember what the website was, but they had like a new picture every day. And I remember being so nervous every day.
A new picture every day.
Every day. It was like the Google Doodle, but with porn.
Before we move on, I just have to wonder how in God's name you stored your hard copies.
I just took the paper and put them, I think I had a binder or something.
It was a binder? I didn't know if it was a manila envelope and you just had it stuffed in a trunk at the foot of your bed. It was kind of like the lone gunman team from the X-Files.
Now that I think about it, I don't think it was a binder because I would have required 3-hole punching it for like
and
security.
You can't 3-hole punch the pussy.
No, you can't do that. I think it was just a folder.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just, there was no security.
You know, we're way off topic here, man. We started out with the Autopsy of Jane Doe. We're on to dick pics and 3-hole punching your porn. We've fallen down a rabbit hole that we may never recover from if we don't leave now.
We're on the autopsy of web-based email programs.
We're on the autopsy of Adrian's childhood right now. So, Autopsy of Jane Doe, check it out, man. It's 100% worth a view. You got to find out who Jane Doe is. Yeah, spoiler alert, you're never going to find out her name, but you find out plenty about her. We're not going to tell you about her. You got to watch the movie to find out about her.
My ringing endorsement, better than a folder of printed out daily porn.
And that is coming from Adrian Steve, the king of folders of printed out porn that he could only get one picture of every day that he stole from a university.
So how many? So on a rating, because we didn't do a rating scale, we just gave it a rating endorsement.
Yeah.
How many porno? How many hard copy printed out pages of porn would you give it out of 10?
The whole 10.
The whole 10.
The whole 10. No, seriously, man. This is one of the best horror movies I've seen in quite some time. And don't you love it? I go from goofy to being analytical in my voice here. Wow. I would say that we're in the middle of what I'd like to call a horror movie renaissance within the last few years. You've got movies like The Conjuring 2, Annabelle, granted all of them from Blumhouse, but you've got movies like Rob Zombie's 31, you've got The Babadook, you've got It Follows, you've got Oculus coming out a few years ago. You've got all of these horror movies that are working in different ways, and I would say that this movie, The Diary of Jane Doe, stacks up with the best of them.
Diary? Autopsy.
Autopsy. I keep on wanting to mix the Diary of Anne Frank and the Autopsy of Jane Doe. I don't know why.
I thought you were doing like a Bridget Jones diary, like Jane Doe's diary.
I would watch that if that was
I
the
would
sequel.
watch that
Find
too,
out
actually.
more about
if
her.
it was the character.
God. Yes,
but
find out
situation?
more about Jane Doe. Ooh, dude, make that movie. Make that movie. That's your sequel, man.
The real question is, do you keep Renee Zellweger in, or do you cut her for the other chick?
Oh, you got to cut her.
Yeah.
Just cut Renee. Just get rid of her for the other chick. But no, I would say that this movie is stacked right up there with the best of the best that's been coming out in the last few years. It's on my list right next to Babadook and It Follows. Both movies gave me nightmares. Both movies made Brooke cling to me while she was trying to sleep next to me, which is the mark of a good horror movie. Definitely worth your time. 10 porn pages in the air, 2 very enthusiastic scalpels up.
Scalpels?
They use scalpels in the Autopsy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was trying to make sure I heard you right. I was expecting something. I was expecting something else to be up.
No, man, we're trying to move away from the porn. We got geek news to cover here.
Okay. Well,
how about
let's
you?
do it.
Porn pages and scalpels. What are you looking at?
I guess I would give it 8 porn pages out of 10 and 1.5 scalpels.
And you know what? For someone as snarky as Adrian, that is a ringing endorsement. That's Adrian waving his porn pages in the air, all 8 of them going, "Come see it, come see it." You're essentially a pornographic dancing dude out there with the sign telling everybody to go in and shop for the discounted furniture. Only in this case, it's a horror movie.
Yeah, and I think the only reason it wouldn't say quite a 10 is I feel like it could have been improved with, maybe some better special effects. I feel like a little more backstory or a little more, just a little more of movie, just some meat in there would have been nice. But then again, I don't know what they cut. I don't know what their budget was, so maybe it's not fair. I'm just saying what I would have liked to have seen, what would have put it closer to a 10 for me. That's what I would have wanted.
I get that. My score may go down with subsequent viewings. I've only seen it the one time, and I was blown away by this movie. Like, as soon as it finished, I sat there and stared at the blank screen for a couple of minutes. So I can understand where you're going with that. As a matter of fact, like I just said, it may go down for me in subsequent viewings. But as far as my initial viewing goes, I give it a perfect score on this one.
And maybe I'm being overly critical or overly demanding, because you could say that the mark of a good movie or good story is leaving you wanting more.
And it definitely did that. It definitely left you wanting more. It left you wanting more story about Jane Doe. It left you wanting more about... You wanted more knowledge about what happened right before the body was discovered and what's going to happen after the movie fades to black. You know, I wanted more of everything. Maybe that's the Freudian slip. Why I keep on saying Diary of Jane Doe, because I want that movie now. I want that sequel. I want to know everything there is to know about Jane Doe, because I want her to keep terrifying me.
Could you imagine if it was combined, instead of being with Bridget Jones' Diary, being with Diary of Anne Frank?
Oh, God.
That would be interesting, too.
That would
I would
so
watch that
fucking
movie.
Interesting. Oh, I would never not be watching that movie. That would be so fucked up, especially if the body of Jane Doe was like somehow over in like Nazi Germany or Austria, wherever it was Anne Frank was from. It was Austria, right?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, I feel like I'm going to take the brunt of it because I didn't correct you. But honestly, I have no clue. I should know. But
she was in
Google.
cities under Nazi occupation, regardless.
Right.
It might have been Poland. I think it was Austria during the Anschlag, but regardless, this is just a pipe dream. That's not going to happen. But what could happen is finding out more about Jane Doe further down the line. And that's your sequel. We're going to give that one to you for free. Nerdynomicon will give you that plot point for free. There's your sequel. Make it happen for us.
She was hiding during the German occupation of the Netherlands.
My mistake. It was during the Netherlands.
I was wrong, too. Fuck all you history majors. I'm a music major. I don't need to know that stuff.
All right, so we've given our review, man. You ready to say fuck the review? Jump into some geek news?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's do this. Twin Peaks is coming in a big bad way. Twin Peaks is happening to you guys, and it's happening at the end of next month. It's happening at the end of May. You can't stop it, even if you wanted to, and why would you want to? There's so many amazing things happening right now. But here's the thing about Twin Peaks. We don't know shit about it. Everything that's coming out that's being any sort of promo material for this show at all is nothing but hints, nothing but chatter, and there are 3 little puzzle games that have been released. They're word puzzles that you can find on YouTube or denofgeek.com. You can even just run a Google search for Twin Peaks puzzles or Twin Peaks reboot puzzle. There are 3 different puzzle games, and I've spent a lot of time on them. I cannot solve these. And apparently they're supposed to give hints as to what the reboot season is going to be about. Because we got 18 episodes coming right now, man. And it's picking up right after the events of season 2 came to a head. Okay, so we're going to find out what happened to Agent Dale Cooper.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying really hard not to laugh while you're talking. I just realized as you were going over that Twin Peaks, keeping with the theme of our episode already, Twin Peaks in Austin is like a Hooters establishment. So when you're talking about, there's 3 Twin Peaks puzzles, and I've been working on it, and I haven't figured them out. If you would have seen the camera, I'm like wiping tears away as I'm trying to silently laugh away from the microphone.
So Twin Peaks is the Austin, Texas Hooters. Okay, fair enough.
I mean, we have Hooters, but I guess Twin Peaks is another one.
Buffalo no longer has Hooters. They closed it down. And I guess I'm the one guy in the country that actually liked going to Hooters for the wings. I don't know. I thought they had good food. Their clams were delicious, too. Yes, I know what I said, Adrian. I said it there, and I'm proud of it. Proud, I say.
I'm so sorry. I feel like I've been driving this show off the rails all today.
Well, you know, I'm glad to know that it's not just me that does that, because usually you're the one that's trying to be much more analytical and having fun, you know, in-depth conversations, and I'm the one over there saying, I don't know, cock, you know?
Yeah. It's just, what are the odds? What are the odds? We're talking about growing up and stealing porn from the university across the street, and then we're going to talk about Twin Peaks, the show, which also happens to be a booby restaurant.
Are they topless there?
They're not topless, but
they're just looking good in the tight shirts.
As far as I know, I've never been, and Tavia's going to listen to this, and she will not fucking believe me because I've already said like what it is. I only know what it is because there's one on the way to one of our favorite restaurants, and we drive by it. And she was like, "We're never going there."
It's Bennigan's, isn't it? Your favorite restaurant is Bennigan's.
No, there's a place in Austin called Trudy's, and it's they have a couple locations. It's not like a big old chain or anything, but it's not small. They said a couple locations, and they have some stuff we like there. But yeah, there's one that's like right across the road from it, and she was telling me what it was, but.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, man. If there was anything that was going to be another boobies restaurant, I would have bet money on the fact that it was going to be Trudy's.
Really?
Yeah. With a name like Trudy, you know it's dirty.
I guess.
Is that their tagline? With a name like Trudy, you know it's dirty. They bring you out flapjacks shaped like dicks.
Let me look it up. Speaking of which, they might. We're going to potentially go there for brunch. We're not getting anything done today. I'm so sorry. Just Trudy's Tex-Mex restaurant and bar.
Tex-Mex restaurant and bar? You know it's dirty.
Is it?
You know it's dirty. I don't know. I'm just fine.
And there's one other booby chain here in Austin. It's called Bikinis, and they literally wear bikinis. I think they wear like short bottoms or something, like jean shorts or something, but like bikini tops all the time. It doesn't matter if it's freezing out or stupid hot. Bikinis. It's dumb. Just really dumb.
Yeah, what Adrian's not telling you is that establishment hires only men as the servers. So the men are walking around in bikinis. It's awkward. It's definitely strange.
Well, they leave the women.
You're never going to look at the margarita the same way again.
They leave the women doing the dishes in the back. They reverse the rules of the traditional restaurant. It's actually really nice. It's feminism finally got it right. No,
Feminism.
oh my God, that's a couldn't be models, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is a weird. This is like a weird crossover episode where I feel like the other two should be here. Like this is so bizarre. Hopefully they listen to this just like I listened to them. They get a kick out of it. They're gonna laugh at this one, I think.
I have no idea how many crossover listeners we have. I know that we have quite a few, but I mean we've got quite a few listeners, period. But I have no idea how many cross the streams, as they would say in Ghostbusters.
I was just talking about Hobart and Dickie, honestly.
Oh, they do. They definitely do.
And here's the thing. I've been listening to them. I feel like somehow I got the voices mixed up because I feel like Hobart's voice sounds like it should be Dickie. And by default, that means Dickie's voice sounds like it should be Hobart.
Yeah, you've got it wrong. Definitely.
I got it totally wrong. I don't know how.
Definitely got it wrong.
So I'm just going to tell, hey guys, if you could just switch voices or names, that would be super helpful.
Dickie would be down for that. Hobart, absolutely not, because Hobart just rails on Dickie.
He could do it in third person.
That came out wrong again. Going back to Twin Peaks to close out that little bit, and also to tie that bridge between restaurants. Adrian, you've never seen Twin Peaks, have you?
I have not.
Watch Twin Peaks. It's absolutely
the show
fucking
or the
amazing.
Restaurant.
It's fucking amazing. However, to all the Twin Peaks viewers out there, everybody that loves Twin Peaks, keep in mind, coming back, the reboot is happening to us, man. Not reboot, it's continuation. It's happening to us, man, at the end of May. All right, last week of May. And just to tie it all together with the restaurant before we move on, there is a barbecue joint up here called One-Eyed Jack's. And Adrian, just so that you understand that, One-Eyed Jack's is a Canadian brothel in Twin Peaks.
Is it like
it's
Twin
not a brothel?
Is it like Twin Peaks but with dudes instead of women?
No, it's not like Twin Peaks with dudes instead of women. It's like the Bada Bing in Sopranos. It's like that.
That's not going to help. I never watched Sopranos. And don't you fucking assign that to me. I do not have time for that shit.
It's a whorehouse. It's a brothel.
But it's a
bordello.
It's
a house inhabited
of
by whores. Yes, by ladies.
Why would you call it One-Eyed Jacks if it's all ladies? Are they all like wearing eye patches? Are they all missing one eye? Is that where the one eye comes from? And then the Jacks are from obviously what the Jacks are from?
I don't know. I didn't name the place, Adrian. I just watched the show. I didn't name the place.
I'm just saying, if I went to a place called One-Eyed Jack's and it was, expecting some kind of sexual service, there's a certain type of person I would expect to be in there, and if it's women, I guess I would be disappointed. Not saying that I would go there or that I have any desire to, or there's anything wrong with it, but I would not picture a place called One-Eyed Jack's to be full of ladies.
You're way too tied up with the name on this one.
Maybe no, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone before I dig any deeper holes on this episode. We should probably move on. Let's just keep moving along. Just move on.
Next little tiny bit of news. Just because we're going to be talking about it in very soon episodes, American Gods is coming at the end of this month. By the time you're listening to this, the weekend right after that, it's going to be happening, man. American Gods, boom! Stars, streaming, watch it. It's going to be great. Based on a novel by Neil Gaiman. They also have a comic out that's also another way of telling the story. It's going to be huge, man. If you don't know what American Gods is, you got to watch the trailers. Neil Gaiman's story. Okay, the guy that brought you Neverwhere, the guy that brought you fucking Sandman. He's got a show coming to Stars. American Gods, check it out. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, this one I think you're going to find interesting. The budget was revealed for the new Avengers movies.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Like, which new ones? Like, the upcoming ones or the ones past the ones that are already planned, I guess?
No, the upcoming ones.
Okay.
Infinity War.
Okay.
Infinity War, because apparently Infinity War is still going to be a two-parter. They're just not going to be calling it Infinity Wars 1 and Infinity Wars 2, but it's still going to be a two-parter. And they're shooting it back to back, man. Somebody shouts out ass to ass, and this is what they get. They're shooting it back to back. Would you like to take a stab at what the budget is for these two movies combined?
I have no clue. I'm not a money person when it comes to to movies because there's so
Venturing
many.
guess.
There's so
Venturing
many
guess.
movies. Hang on, hold on, hang on. There's so many movies that have a lot of money and do shit with it, and there's so many movies
True.
that have not a lot of money and do amazing with it that I just don't even have a realm for that. I'm gonna guess it's 2 movies.
Two
Can you
movies together.
Give me a hint of like, can you tell me what the first Avengers budget was? The very, very first one, or one of the earliest Marvel ones. I'm gonna try to extrapolate from there.
If I remember accurately, the first Avengers movie had a budget of $300 million. If I remember correctly.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 movies. They're probably gonna be longer, and I'm expecting more stars because they keep having more people, and they're going to keep giving them raises. I'm going to go with 2 movies.
Let me retract that. The first Avengers movie had a budget of $220 million in US dollars. Yes.
I am going to guess for both movies. I'm still going to aim high because I was thinking 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion for the 2 movies combined?
Yes, not each.
You're close enough. Actually, you overshot it. It's $1 billion.
I was close.
That's $500 million per Avengers movie. That's per Avengers movie. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're going to be getting the full load there, man, with these Avengers movies. I mean, it's confirmed. There's going to be over 50 named and costumed characters on screen at one point, even in just the first Avengers movie for Infinity War. But god damn, $500 million for one movie. Holy shit.
So here's what I'm worried about. Sooner or later, the bubble's going to burst on the superhero market, just like it did on the housing market. We're going to go political now. So what does our post-bubble burst superhero movie landscape look like? When do you have any predictions on when it's going to happen?
My prediction as to when this is going to happen. Now, we're just talking superheroes. All right, we're not going to be talking comic book movies as a whole because there are plenty of other comic book movies that are coming out that are nothing to do with superheroes, but just the spandex and capes and everything. I have a projection that we're going to reach the point of supersaturation within 6 years.
I think that's fair. I was thinking like 5.
I think that it's going to be completely after Phase 2 is completed. After Phase 3 is completed, I think it's going to be at the end of the Infinity War. Once all of the contracts are up for Robert Downey Jr., for Hemsworth, for Chris Evans, even though he said that he still wants to keep playing Cappy. He said that multiple times. I think you're going to reach the point of supersaturation at that point. Once they start introducing the new school, people are going to start checking out. I mean, keep in mind, we're at the decade mark since the original Iron Man debuted.
Right.
And look at how much Marvel has given us. Now you're going to have your ebbs and flows as well. You know, I mean, Black Panther is a great example. I am crazy excited for this. Even though I barely know anything about Black Panther, I know about the King of Wakanda. You know, I've learned some just hearing about Black Panther, and just because I loved his cameo in Civil War. I don't know that much about him, and I'm not sure how the casual fan is going to react to it. That being said, could go ahead and surprise us. And Marvel's been bringing it. It's been bringing it hard. The visuals in Doctor Strange alone was enough to make me, as I tend to say in these shows, come unassisted. The visuals alone, man, I mean, it was Inception level. So, I mean, I could be completely off base, but I do think that we're going to reach a point of supersaturation, and they're going to have to scale it back. I don't see these movies going anywhere as far as like disappearing into the aether anytime soon. I don't see that happening in my lifetime. I think that superhero movies are here, and they're here to stay in a big bad way. But I think we're going to start seeing them scaled back. I mean, when you've got DC, who can't even get their cinematic universe really together, you know, that was an unfair statement. Unfair statement, because Wonder Woman is coming out this summer. I'm gonna hold my statements and my opinions of DC until I see Wonder Woman, because I've been excited for Suicide Squad, BVS, all of them, and I've been left disappointed by most. So I'll retract that statement. But still, DC's got movies scheduled out, or had them scheduled out till 2020. That list came out in 2015. That's a big fucking bucket of time.
Yeah.
That's a big bucket of time to start scheduling these movies out with really no basis in reality. Marvel's been doing that with their movies as well. Now, Marvel's all but printing money for the most part, but still,
I think you're right.
That's a tough nut to crack.
I think you're right. When the contracts start coming up and you have to either replace them with younger people just because Thor doesn't look like Thor anymore, or
right.
I think that's when people are going to start checking out, or they're going to have to start telling new stories with new heroes, and it's going to be like, does anyone care? And
right.
Maybe they will, because I mean, I don't think you could tell me that people were going to give a crap about Black Panther 10 years ago. I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know he existed. But
I didn't know who he was 2 years ago.
Right.
Now I know who he is. I don't know that much about him, but I know who he is.
Even Iron Fist, It's like,
right.
Yep. So Marvel's found a way to keep things compelling with characters that aren't your mainstream, top of the line, top tier characters. So there's no reason to think that they won't be able to continue to do that. But at some point, you figure it's going to have to run out. They're going to have to. People are just probably going to get bored unless they can keep bringing it. I don't know.
I completely agree. And I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world to start telling new stories. Or, God forbid, bring new stories in that people may not have heard of. New characters. I used to love Lobo when I was growing up. Do you know who Lobo is?
Isn't that the guy from DC who rides around he's like an alien and rides around on a motorcycle and he's all white?
Look at Adrian Steve. You got that right, my friend. DC's answer to Deadpool, essentially. Wisecracking, hard-boiled, hard-talking intergalactic bounty hunter. That's the type of movie I think that we're going to start seeing once these start phasing out, once people start checking out from the old guard. Once Robert Downey Jr. is no longer Iron Man, because that man's paycheck is huge. I mean, we're looking at a lot of mucho millions of dollars just to get him in the Iron Man costume, So,
yeah. I mean, there's going to hit a point where even if he wants to keep doing it, Marvel might not be able to pay him. It's like, hey, we still have to make a movie. Like, we can't just give you all the money.
Exactly. So, based on what I just said, that brings me to the next bit of information here, the next bit of news, if you will, and that's Invincible.
Silence, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I realize that. I'm just going to sit that there, and I'm just going to stare at it for a second. Now I'm going to pick it back up. Invincible, my friend, is Image Comics' let's call it their version of Superman, okay? Amazing comic book, co-written by Robert Kirkman of Outcast and Walking Dead fame. This book is funny, it has heart, it has power, it has superheroes, it has capes, it has babies, it has blood, it has gore, it has everything that you want, man. In some doses huge, in some doses small. But and all joking aside, it's essentially the Image comic version of Superman. And it actually tells the story in a much more concise, cohesive, easy to digest version than Superman's story has ever been told. There are at probably about 130 issues right now over at Image Comics. It's still going on right now. And Invincible is coming to a theater near you. That's right, it is being picked up and brought to you by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. They are set to write, direct, and produce. And if you're wondering, wait a minute, are you talking about the stoner Seth Rogen? Zach from Zach and Miri Make a Porno? Yeah, that's right, I am. I'm also talking about Seth Rogen, the dude who finally brought Preacher to a screen. Not even a big screen, but any screen. Because Preacher has been in development hell for over a decade. And it's an amazing, amazing story. Kevin Smith was attached to it at one point. That definitely fell through, especially with the Weinsteins trying to bring it out. They just didn't understand it. Seth Rogen, he understood it and he was able to bring it forth. So this is happening. Invincible, produced, written, and directed by Seth Rogen.
Sounds good. I mean, is James Franco anywhere near this thing? Please tell me no. Just the two of them together.
I've not seen James Franco's face anywhere around this.
I don't know. I really liked Seth Rogen for a while, and then the
Franco just happened.
Well, I mean, he pulled an Adam Sandler where he just does the same thing every movie.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's not fair to call it a Sandler because I think a lot of comedic actors play the same type of person every movie they're in. But I just got tired of it. And then they started bringing in Franco for like every other movie. It's like, oh my God, you two just go in the closet and get your stuff done. Just get it out of your system and stop making movies together.
Just fuck already, okay? Stop with the tension. Just fucking get it over with.
Just make your sex tape, release it on the internet, get millions and millions of dollars, and live happily ever after.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Just a couple more pieces, and then we can get to our main topic for tonight. New Labrynth movie. Not a remake, but set in the same universe. Have you heard about this? That Labrynth is getting a spin-off movie, sequel, however you want to slate it?
I have not heard it, but I'm not happy to hear it.
Well, this information was initially released about 2 weeks after the death of David Bowie, who, if you haven't seen Labrynth, shame on you, first off. But secondly, David Bowie, amazing 80s singer, fashion icon, he was the star of Labrynth. He was Jareth the Goblin King. Well, we're getting a new movie set in that same universe. And reviews are mixed. I'm excited about it. As long as they don't try to remake it, I think I'm going to be okay, because this is a world that's vast. It's a world that's cool. It's a key to my childhood, and I'd like to see it explored. I mean, who do we got here? Jay Basu of Monsters Dark Continent. He's going to be our writer, and Fede Alvarez from the director of Don't Breathe. Okay, he's going to be our director, and I thought Don't Breathe was absolutely fantastic. Sam Raimi movie. I'm in.
I still want to see that. I haven't seen it yet. I really want to see Don't Breathe.
Oh, it's worth it. It's worth it. Definitely check that out. We should review that on the show here sometime very soon. It's
when I can get around to it.
Yeah, when you can. Yeah, I'll assign it to you as homework at some point.
How dare you? Hey, speaking of homework,
yes.
I seem to recall somebody on this podcast saying they were going to listen to a couple albums that somebody else brought up on this podcast. How did that go?
It actually went fantastic. I jammed out to them. I absolutely loved them. I loved them. And then for whatever reason, I had to clear my palate with Peter Gabriel in Your Eyes on loop for like an hour. But don't you judge me. I love them. As a matter of fact, I also loved reading Spawn while listening to them.
Right?
They were fantastic. Yeah, they're on my iTunes right now, man. Excellent pull. Excellent pull. Can you give the artist and the album another plug, please? Because my iTunes is being a little bit finicky, and I can't remember the artist's name.
Oh, yeah. So that was Iced Earth. And
Iced Earth, thank you.
The Spawn album is The Dark Saga, I believe it's called.
Dark Saga, yes. This is almost like your 1992 teenage self, or in my case, young adult self, set to music while sitting there with a backwards cap on reading Spawn, okay? If you pop this on, this is your Apocalypse Now while listening to Dark Side of the Moon, okay? Sit down with your Spawn graphic novel, sit down with your single issue books, and just go on a reading session while listening to this, and it unfolds. It's fucking amazing. Absolutely amazing. I highly recommend you do that because it's a very fun evening.
Oh, man, I'm impressed. I wasn't sure that you got around to it because you didn't mention it. Usually, you're like, we talk about stuff.
I'm sorry about that. Yes, I did do that. As a matter of fact, I did that like 2 or 3 days after you recommended it. It's been a couple of weeks since you brought that up.
Yeah. And what about the Dark Tower one? Did you listen to that one?
That I did not listen to.
Ah, you're gonna have to.
That I did not listen to.
Demons and Wizards, Touched by the Crimson King. Awesome. Such a good album. I think I like that album. I don't want
the Crimson King to touch me there.
Well, you know what?
I don't
Maybe
want him to
you
touch
shouldn't
me
be.
there.
You shouldn't be sneaking into the Dark Tower and printing out porn on his printer and trying to smuggle it out of there. That's what you get.
Holy shit. Okay, I just got an update here. This is going to be our last bit of news before we jump into our main topic. I'm sorry, I'm kind of
live breaking news.
Yeah, this is actually live breaking. I literally just got an update.
Read all about it
here on my phone. I've been talking about Lock and Key by Joe Hill for quite some time. It was the intellectual property that's been trying so hard to break onto our television sets as far back as, what was it? 2011, I think, with Jesse McCartney tied to it. They had a pilot. it was not picked up by Fox because it was, and I quote, too scary. Then it jumped over to the cinematic universe, where it was slated to be a trilogy of movies, which didn't make sense, seeing as though there are 6 volumes to the Lock and Key set anyway. I didn't love that idea, but you know what? Any Lock and Key is better than no Lock and Key. But that was ill-fated as well. So the latest I knew as of about 6 months ago is that Joe Hill was sitting back down and writing the scripts and trying to get it made and bring it back to the small screen, because people have been asking for it, people have been clamoring for it. I even went on Couldn't Be Models and called out Tommy Lauren to have a spot here in our network to sit there and shame network executives into bringing Lock and Key to television. All right, I would give her a position here. Well, I'm sorry, Tommy, but offer rescinded, because by the looks of it, Hulu has ordered the pilot from Joe Hill and Carlton Cuse. Looks like Hulu's going to be picking up Lock and Key. They've at least ordered the pilot. I'm sorry, I'm scanning the article as I'm talking about this right now. And holy shit, the director is going to be Scott Derrickson, who was also the director of Doctor Strange, which I already talked about coming while watching tonight. So wow. The director that gave us the Inception-like visuals of Doctor Strange is going to be directing the new pilot for Lock and Key. Written by Joe Hill, screenplay by Joe Hill, sent over to Hulu. Hulu has ordered it, man. And you know what that means? That means that we can get more graphic and truer to the story than Fox ever could give us. Okay? So that means that we can see Bode dead, and we don't need to worry about throwing things down for network television in an 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock time slot. This is big news. This is huge news. This is blowing up on Twitter right now, man. I literally just got the update while we were recording this podcast.
Well, now they're going to know exactly when we record, which changes week by week, so actually it doesn't really matter. Does. Yeah. You know, I think
never pin us down.
I think Hulu ordered this series because they listened to your podcasts, all of them, but especially Couldn't Be Models, and they heard your threat of bringing on Tommy Lauren. And they're like, we cannot let that happen.
Oh, dude, it wasn't a threat. It was a promise. I am a man of my word. I would have, if she contacted me, I literally would have contacted you to create an intro song, and I would have produced a podcast for her and put it on the Artful Gremlins network. I was that passionate about her. But I detest her rhetoric so much, I would have aimed her directly at making the pop culture pieces of intellectual property that I want to see. I'm going to keep her reined in, and she's not to talk politics, but with her fire and venom and whatnot and blonde hair, I would have set her loose on the world, man. I would have made her attack until we got some Joe Hill intellectual property right there on big screen, small screen, any screen. Yeah, well, offer rescinded because Hulu's got it. So maybe they took my statements and they took it at face value and they're like, oh shit, we can't let her get back and be relevant. Well, you know what? Mission accomplished, bitches. Because Hulu's given us Lock and Key. You heard it here first, folks. Unless, of course, you guys are subscribed to the same news organizations that I am. And then you heard it here while I was recording it here, folks.
You heard it on the podcast as it broke, and you're listening to it after the fact.
That's right.
First.
So you got to hear us reacting to something that you read 24 hours ago. Well, you know what? It's happening live for us right now. So, damn it. And that's how we react to live geek news coming in to the Nerd Cave here. It couldn't be at Nerdynomicon.
We've had a lot of connecting threads this episode, more really than I think we've planned. So let me ask you this. Unplanned. Let me ask you this, because this is a throwback to a long time ago, okay. Maybe. Okay. Was this news from comicbook.com?
My source for news.
Your source for news?
No. Unfortunately, It was not.
Comicbook.com letting us down.
This was from Tor.com. Although it is already up on comicbook.com, so I'm checking that right now. It is there. But no, this information did not come from comicbook.com.
Why didn't it? Just out of curiosity. How are they losing your business? Because this is why we aren't plugging you guys anymore, comicbook.com.
I
You're no
idea.
longer his source for news.
I have no idea, man.
Are they not tweeting it?
The alert must not have come through. I don't know what it was. I don't have an answer.
Fix it, comicbook.com.
Get on the ball! All right, so our last bit of geek news, man. And this is going to be our main topic for yet another much longer episode than I think we anticipated. A week ago from the time you guys are listening to this. So we're going back in time 1 week to last Friday. Star Wars: The Last Jedi teaser trailer dropped on us. It just dropped and just started smacking us around. And I died. Then I came back to life, man. I was like Tupac in that. I died and then came back. It was
Did he come back?
He did come back. Twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Twice?
Oh, Pac's alive, man. We just got to keep that on the DL because of Shook. So.
Oh, but, it's interesting that you're using died and came back to life analogies with Tupac, because we literally just had Easter. Like, it just happened. But you're talking about Tupac.
But I'm talking about Tupac.
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to get religious. So, The Last Jedi teaser trailer, it happened to us. And we reacted to it. And we reacted with ourselves, and we reacted with other people. So it was like masturbatory reaction, and then it was consensual reaction with other people. I feel the need to plug these guys really quick because I flipped out about this. The minute that I found out that this teaser dropped, I threw it up on the Facebook page before I even watched it. And then I watched it 4 times back to back to back. Now, mind you, I was driving at that point too, so I had to pull over and watched it a bunch of times, then kept driving while I was screaming and flipping out and making phone calls. So when I found out about this, I sent good vibes into the internet, and I tried to find some friends to record like initial reactions with, because Adrian, I know you were busy last Friday. So I was trying to find people to record reactions with, and I got some friends, man. I got some hits. I got David Duncan from Synthaholics. I got Anthony Luciano and Sailor from Irrational Fears, and a new friend, Zach, from A Nightmare on Fear Street. There are 2 Nightmare podcasts on this that we're talking about. Nightmare on Film Street and Nightmare on Fear Street. I'm going to try my best not to get these guys mixed up. But we recorded our reactions later on that night, and we were all blown away. I had seen it the most at that point. Now, granted, there was like a 3 or 4 hour time difference between myself and Anthony and Sailor and Zach because they were out in California. But we flipped out about it. And you can hear that episode right now on patreon.com/artfulgremlins for pay what you want. You can get early access to all of our shows over there. If you guys want to support us, if you're like, I like what this guy's doing. I like his ramblings. I like the way he reads me the late breaking news like Wolf Blitzer, only geeky with a backwards hat and not at all like Wolf Blitzer because I can actually listen to this guy. Patreon.com/artfulgremlins is how you can support us. You can help us keep the light on. $1 a month, $2 a month, $5 a month, you guys are being awesome. $10 a month or more, at that point, you guys are just being generous. I mean, that's way above and beyond. But seriously, if you guys want early access to our episodes, access to a whole bunch of awesome perks, exclusive episodes. This episode currently is an exclusive over on Patreon. It'll eventually get released over on our channel, but it's up there right now. So if you want to hear Irrational Fears, Nightmare on Fear Street, and Synthaholics sit down with me, talk about this, patreon.com/artfulgremlins. But that's not why we're talking about this right now. We're talking about this because I have not gotten to react to it with my brother in broadcasting, Adrian Steve. Tell me your opinions on this trailer, because I'm up to about 25 times viewing it.
Really? I think I've seen it about between 5 to 10, so I'm not as well versed on it as you are.
I was trying to support a theory with most of those viewings, so I'm
really
don't
hit
think
me
that
with the theory. Hit me with the theory. I don't want to talk about what I thought. I want to talk about what you thought, because you have refined, you have well-aged thoughts. Mine are much rough. Mine are the rough diamonds. This analogy is not working at all. But mine are the diamonds that have not been cut, and yours is the dinosaurs that have been formed into oil over millennia. So
all right, well, working off of your analogy, this trailer made me diamond hard. Okay, after I was done with even up to the 14th viewing of this trailer, I could chisel my name on my bedroom window with my dick. Okay, it was that hard. I'm just etching it. That's how it made me feel. We've got AT-ATs yet again. We've got what looks to be pod racers shooting out some sort of red smoke from behind them. I've got theories as to what that smoke is. But the theories that I've been working with have to do with the last 30 seconds of this trailer. For one thing, I've been lightening up and slowing down the trailer just to see if it is in fact Luke who says that last phrase, "It's time for the Jedi to end." Because while listening to it, it's obvious that it's Mark Hamill's voice through the vast majority of that trailer. Now, I've also been subjected to the TV show Girls, the entire series, which just wrapped up last weekend. And one of the stars of that series is Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren. So I've become very accustomed to his voice. And it sounds like Kylo Ren that says that last phrase. It sounds like Adam Driver. Now, I don't know if that is just wishful thinking. And upon lightening up that trailer, it does look like Mark Hamill's mouth does move. I just still cannot tell if it's in time with the words that are coming out of his mouth. But I'm sorry, the voice does not sound the same as Mark Hamill's. So going on that theory, I think it might be all of this might be a red herring, and it might just be us freaking out unnecessarily.
Let me post something for you to think about with that. So let's say that even if his mouth lines up with the line, that doesn't necessarily mean he spoke it, because he could be speaking to Rey and saying, he thinks, like they could have just chopped it. It's like, he thinks all the Jedi must end, or whatever the actual line is.
True.
Like, it very easily could be. So, I don't know. The Star Wars has done a good job of keeping their trailers quiet and not giving away too much.
Yes.
It's the, again, opposite of Spider-Man Homecoming trailer syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, after the last couple of botches with Spider-Man, now granted, I enjoyed Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I really did. But with the last couple of botches, Sony still technically has the rights to him. I understand them wanting to be like, hey, look at our dick. Look at our dick. Do you see it swinging? Do you see her swinging? Come on. Look at our dick. Look at our dick. Come on. My dick's right here. Look at my dick.
I don't know if that's what they're doing. I think it's more
that's what they're doing.
They're like, no, look, we fixed it. No, it's good now. Look, we fixed it. There's no Topher Grace's Venom, and there's no weird evil Tobey Maguire jazz dancing scene. It's good now. It's good.
If they weren't saying look at my dick, they wouldn't have had Robert Downey Jr. in the trailer as much as they did. They're wanting us to look at the dick. That's what it is. They're wearing a shirt that has arrows pointing down saying I'm with stupid, and stupid is clearly the penis. Now, this movie better be amazing, otherwise clearly I'm supposed to be a vagina and I'm an idiot.
I don't know. I feel like the Robert Downey Jr. thing is just to try to get more people into it.
Exactly.
Just like you're saying with the... But is it, though?
Yes.
Is it? I think it's them trying to show, again, like I said, it's them trying to show that they didn't screw this one up. It was like, look, we got Iron Man, and his stuff is good.
Oh,
so they wouldn't give us Iron Man if this is bad.
My mistake. Let me rephrase. Look at my well-trimmed dick. Look at my well-trimmed dick. Look at the well-trimmed dick.
It's called manscaping. Come on now.
But your point is valid, though. Going back to what your initial point was, getting away from penises yet again. A lot of dick in this episode. Chock full of cock in this episode. Wow. Going back to what your point is, yes, the Star Wars trailers have been mighty, mighty ambiguous. And it could be, even if Luke's mouth does sync up, it could be, like you were insinuating, him saying that but not meaning what we are taking it to mean. Or it simply could be the fact that it's not Luke saying it, like I am theorizing. Because I am not convinced as of yet, and I have not seen anybody else online posing this theory, or finding any evidence, because honestly I don't think anybody else is out there challenging it. I'm not seeing anybody sitting there trying to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is Luke saying it. I don't think that Mark Hamill has confirmed that. If they have, then this whole rant is completely moot point, and I'm the jerk. But I think that line was coming from Kylo. But the interesting implication to me is if it is not. If this is Luke saying it, because that brings in the theory of the gray Jedi. This brings in the novelization of The Force Awakens in, obviously episode 7. The very first few lines are an excerpt from the Journal of the Whills, which, interesting fact, the very first Star Wars movie, episode 4, A New Hope, was supposed to be Luke Starkiller and the Journal of the Whills. And the Whills were supposed to be an ancient, immortal race of aliens that were essentially reading us this story, like fucking Dune style, okay? And the story was about Luke Starkiller, who ends up being recast and renamed into Luke Skywalker. And the Whills are now in canon, even in the cinematic universe after Rogue One, because you've got Chirrut Imwe over there being a guardian of the Whills, him and his man over there. So that's in canon, and I'm pretty sure that we saw the Journals of the Whills in this trailer. I'm pretty sure that little page that we saw with the Jedi insignia, with the symbol of the Jedi there, I'm pretty sure that comes from the Journal of the Whills. I think that Luke has gotten ancient Jedi writings, like the old stuff, the stuff that even Yoda has overlooked or passed by. And I think he's ready to transcend. I think he's ready for the Jedi Order to end, to bring about the gray Jedi. Because the entirety of this series has been about the light versus the dark. When in actuality,
there's so much more.
Exactly. Because you've got your lawful evil and then you've got your chaotic evil. Because I'm sorry, that's one of my problems that I have with the prequels, is the rigidity is so strict that it almost becomes a form of evil with the Jedi Order. It almost becomes like they were behind the scenes tyrannical. Like they were depriving themselves of absolutely everything to make it a self-fulfilling prophecy that Jedi would flip and turn over to the Sith. This whole poverty and chastity and training since you were like 2. I mean, the Jedi is supposed to be based on Shaolin monks. And there's a lot of parallels, but there's also a massive amount of differences. And I don't know. I can see how the Jedi Order of old could be construed as evil. And obviously, you can see how the Sith Lords are seen as evil. But here's my point. You've seen Anakin Skywalker go from a good guy, he's a knight in the Jedi Order, over to the biggest badass in the galaxy, Darth Vader, Lord of the Sith, second only to Emperor Palpatine. And then you see him switch back over to the side of light to save his son against Emperor Palpatine, throwing him into the giant turbines and killing his former master. So you've seen Darth Vader switch back over to the light. You also have that line from Star Wars The Force Awakens about how Kylo is saying he still feels a pulling from the light side of the Force. So I'm posing that even if it is, just going under the assumption that everybody else is right and that I'm the jerk, and that is a line from Luke Skywalker, I'm saying that he's talking about the gray Jedi. I'm not saying that we're going to be losing Jedi forever. I think that the Jedi, as the film universe has shown them, is going away forever. And I think we're going to get the gray Jedi. We're going to get the Jedi more like Luke in Return of the Jedi. He's got the hood and he's got the black and everything. He's got the cowl going on. He's fucking Batman with a lightsaber. That's what I think we're getting. And I think it's going to be very, very compelling. That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I have a theory in how I think there's going to be a twist. I think there's going to be like something that we didn't expect, much like there was something that we didn't really expect in Force Awakens until you saw a giant catwalk with no railings and you kind of knew exactly what was up. I think I know the twist. I think I know the twist in this movie. And then, unfortunately, I think I know the entirety of the next movie after it. So before I do that, I want to make sure that you've gotten everything out that you want to get out. Because there's no more show after I'm done with my theory. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, we better get it out of the way right now.
Let's see. Touching on that. All of the news has me extremely excited. This trailer is one of the best teasers I've ever seen. My pants are very, very sticky and very, very brittle and stiff from coming so many times due to excitement here. Cannot wait for Christmas next year. Not only for Christmas, not only to spend time with the family and delicious food, but because it's Star Wars season. This is the 3rd year in a row for Star Wars. So I've given you my theories. If you guys want to hear more of my reaction, day of, patreon.com/artfulgremlins. It'll eventually show up on this feed here. But you guys can listen to it over there right now for pay what you want. $1 gives you access to all that. And we'll give our contact information at the sign out, just to have a nice organic way to get out of here after you blow my mind. So take us there, Adrian, Steve.
There's no organic way out of this one when I'm done. So here's the thing that has kind of been the crucifixion of the entire series has been this prophecy that there was going to be a child that was going to bring balance to the Force. And they thought it was Anakin, or it might not be Anakin, or the midichlorians, blah, 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 something.
Well, technically it was Anakin. Until the extended universe, he left 2 Jedi and 2 Sith alive. So, come on.
So I mean, it's interesting, though, because he was a Jedi, and the Jedi trained him, and their version of bringing balance to the Force was wiping out all the Sith. Which really, if you're talking about balance, doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, if you have a fat kid on a seesaw and a skinny kid on a seesaw, and you wipe out let's say the skinny kid. I don't want to, let's not call fat people evil. That is not what I'm trying to do here. But you wipe out one of them. It's not balanced. It wasn't balanced to begin with, and it's not balanced now. So, like, there's just this weird fallacy of sorry, I couldn't resist. The way this episode's going, I couldn't resist that.
No,
there's just this strange fallacy of, what the Jedi believe is bringing balance and order to the Force. I think I'm pretty sure they tried to sneak in order there as well. If not, I just did it. So,
like the new order? Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but do the Sith even know anything about this prophecy? I don't remember. Maybe Palpatine did.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. I'm sure that even if Palpatine didn't know, I'm sure that Snoke knows.
Do you think they subscribed to this prophecy, or they just knew of its existence, or do we not have any clue on that? I don't think it matters. I'm just curious. It just kind of it's a tangent that I had not thought about until now.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's just because you think something doesn't mean I think something. Like, you think
that's a good
grilled
question.
Cheese. You think grilled cheese is the second coming of Booperdoo, and I'm just like, nope, it's just grilled cheese.
I have no idea who Booperdoo is, but
it's my made up non-religious figure. Because I don't want
because you don't want to offend, because we're progressive in this show.
I've been towing the line with a lot of things this episode, so
Touché.
I'm trying not to offend religious people or fat people or skinny people or anyone.
No, right on. I get
any more than I already have.
I'm there. I hear you.
So it doesn't really matter, I guess. But it was interesting if they actually subscribe to it or they just are aware of the prophecy. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's this whole idea of bringing balance to the Force. And do we know where this prophecy came from? Because I'm blanking on that too.
As far as I know, it comes from the Journal of the Wills.
Okay. All right. So there's it's written down somewhere. It wasn't just pulled out of someone's ass. Like, balance to the Force.
As far as I know, I'm not that much of a Star Wars scholar. I can't tell you definitively, but I would assume that is where it comes from.
I sort of was, not really, kind of, but a long time ago, before they killed all of the extended universe.
The EU has been dismantled by Disney, so even if it was stated previously, we can't use that as gospel.
Right. So, anyways, prophecy, balance of the Force. Anakin's going to do it, or maybe it wasn't him. Who knows? Depends on your religious beliefs. But let's assume it was. Jedi Order thinks bringing balance to the Force is wiping out everybody that isn't good, but that's not balance, as can be seen from my incredibly apt seesaw example. Because, So, what does balance to the Force look like? I don't think it's an equal number of good guys and bad guys, if you want to look at the Sith as bad and the Jedi as good. It's because that's still the balance is kind of like Luke was in Return of the Jedi. He's choking people. He chokes out the Gamorrean guard.
Exactly.
He's not good. He's not bad. He's using
Jedi.
both. Yeah,
Great
he's
Jedi.
doing both. So it's kind of like, how do you get to this point? How do you get there from where we are now? So we've got Luke, and whether he's towing the line or not, we've still got someone who seems very firmly on the light side with Rey, and someone who's very firmly on the dark side with Kylo. There's still some fluidity in there. Things could change, but you have the two younger ones coming up, and then you also have the supreme evil Snoke or whatever. So it's like, how do you achieve that balance? Have you thought about it? Do you have any ideas? Because I know how they're going to do it.
Kill all of them.
No.
No.
Nope. Here's how they're going to do it.
Here's
the surprise. Here's the surprise twist.
Okay.
Kylo and Rey are going to fall in love. They're going to become a couple. They're going to get it on. And they're going to realize that one of them's primarily good, one of them's primarily evil, but they have both inside of them. And there's no way, you can't deny one side of yourself and then claim to be balanced. So if the goal is the balance of the Force, which I think Rey could be sold on that idea from Luke, and I think Kylo, if he falls in love with Rey, because I think he already respects her.
Yeah,
it's
pretty damn obvious. Yeah, it's pretty damn obvious.
So I think,
she jacked his face.
Right. If he falls in love with her, she can probably convince him. Because guys in love are stupid, right? We do stupid shit. We believe stupid things. And also, by the way, back to the jacking his face, I feel like his scar should be way worse than it is in that trailer. But I digress.
In one of the fictional trailers that I've seen out there, not an actual or posters, in one of the fictional posters that I saw out there, just fan art, his face looks like it's right out of Squall from Final Fantasy VIII. It's looking badass.
Yeah.
The official one, not so much, but it's still pretty jacked.
So that's my big reveal for this movie. And that being said, that gives away the entire plot of the next movie, where they are going to be fighting with each other as they wander around an intergalactic IKEA looking for furniture for their home. That's it. That's the series. That's how it ends. Yeah, organically get out of that.
So what do you think of Adrian's theory? What do you think of my theories? If you want to contact us, you can email us, nerdynomicon@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at Nerdynomicon, at Robbie the Saber, spelled with an R-E, at Kinga Awesome, King Awesome with 2 G's. The second G is silent, according to Adrian. Or you can use the official Artful Gremlins Twitter, at Artful Gremlin. I've already told you guys how to support us with patreon.com/artfulgremlins. Also want to give huge shout outs to all of the other podcasts that we've talked about in this episode. Irrational Fears, Nightmare on Film Street, Nightmare on Fear Street, and Synthaholics. All of them excellent shows. Definitely recommend you guys checking them out. All of them.
Models. Also couldn't be models.
And that was going to be my last one. Also check out our Big Brother show, Couldn't Be Models. We brought that up plenty of times.
Little brother. We're Big Brother.
We're like 1984. We're George Orwell.
Yes.
Fair enough. All right. Check out our brother show. Okay, our brother show. It's not little, it's not big, it's just our brother. And check out everything that Hobart and Dickie are doing over there. It's crazy, man. Over there on Couldn't Be Models. That theory that Adrian posed.
I can hear you trying.
My God.
Like, you're spinning wheels trying to figure out, like, how can I elegantly get out from underneath this pile of bullshit that you just viewed?
And you know what? I need a week in order to recover from that, in order to bring my ship full round, because I expelled so much energy on Joe Hill and on Invincible and everything else that we tackled tonight on the Autopsy of Jane Doe. I got nothing for Intergalactic Star Wars IKEA. I got nothing for it, man.
I was trying so hard.
I don't even know what to say.
I was trying so hard not to spoil it. Like when I told you I had a theory and you were like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear it," and you were super excited. I was like, "Oh no!" Like now I want to ruin it.
Being in earnest. No.
Partially, I think partially. I think everything up until the IKEA part may or may not happen, but the IKEA definitely.
I can see, but the IKEA definitely. I can see a love story coming out of that. I really can. If nothing more than a redemption story, to see Kylo Ren turn back into Ben Solo and come more toward the light. I can see a redemption story, if not a love story, coming out of that. Intergalactic IKEA is just bound to happen. We've already got a trilogy of movies where they discuss the intricacies of intergalactic trade law, and it still makes more sense than Trump's presidency. Just had to throw that in there as the obligatory slam for the episode. But it could happen. Intergalactic Star Wars IKEA could happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you got to chew on that for like a week now.
I do.
We come back.
We're gonna circle back to this. That's all we got for you, folks. That's all the news that's fit to tell you. That's all the reviews we're meant to give you, and that's some Star Wars news that's just gonna fester and just kick around in your brain tanks until next week. So until next week, I've been Robbie,
and I've been Adrian,
and we'll see you in Intergalactic IKEA, but until then, let's close the book.